A young spectator, then a film student, and when I had the chance to meet him and to work with him on Le Condamné à mort, échappé, I thought of it as an immense privilege. He was the man in the French cinema who at the same time was against everything else that was being made at the time. And for me, he was a sort of a quintessence of a French cinema, the purest. It seemed like he had wiped out everything that was theatrical, everything that was not purely cinematic. I joined him when he was preparing the Condamné à mort, and I was lucky enough to help him casting the picture. You have to know that Bresson's approach to acting is completely original in the sense that he never talks about actors, he talks about subjects, and he wants always to choose interprets. Protagonists of his film are always people who've never acted before, have absolutely nothing of the attitudes of actors, are completely like a completely virgin approach to film acting, and are not actors. I was enormously impressed when I worked with him as his extreme attention to details, his sort of a superb contempt for everything that was an effect, too facile, and trying to follow a sort of a mysterious interior line, which for me is very close to music. I've been watching him work, and there was something very mysterious about it, something that I couldn't quite understand until I saw the picture completed. And I remember how amazed I was when I saw Lancelot, for instance. Lancelot, I didn't have a chance to see it when it was first released because I was working outside France. And I came back and I saw it in the little theater. I thought it was one of his most achieved work, because he rarely went so far in telling a story which would have permitted a lot of spectacular effects. And I remember the scene of, there is a scene of a duel where everything is done on the sound, and there's a sort of extraordinary austerity in his approach to color. And there's something about his work which is so pure that it's sometimes almost scary, and it makes everything you see in the rest of the cinema seem like gimmickry.
Seen in about 15 minutes.
Very faithful to the story of Devigny, and changed the physical appearance of the character entirely. Factually, it's about this man who refuses to accept being a prisoner, and days after days, and refuses to give up, and manages to escape in one of the most spectacular evasions of the history of the resistance. But Bresson tells the story in such simple terms and completely de-dramatizes the story so completely and so well that it becomes a sort of an inner adventure. It seems to all take place in the mind of the character. He told me, because you come from documentaries, you're going to take care of the props. You're going to deal with, so I was in charge of the spoons, and I was in charge of all the instruments with which the protagonist managed to, day by day, to prepare his escape. And he said, you know, he liked me because he felt that because I came from documentaries, I was not yet polluted by the fiction films and actors and the theater. And And many years later, I was editing Lacombe Lucien, and they reran Condamné à mort on French television, and I was watching it with my editors. And suddenly, at the end of the picture, arrived this character of Jost, the boy, who is put in the same cell with the protagonist of the picture. And suddenly, we looked at each other and we said, c'est Lucien, it's him. And I realized that over the years, unconsciously, I had kept in mind this very strong side character who comes at the end and is very sort of determines the denouement in a way, and then somehow when I made Lacombe Lucien, even the actors, or rather the non-actor, because he was not an actor that I choose to play Lacombe Lucien, looked like the boy in Condamné à mort. It was sort of an unconscious homage to Bresson that I was not even aware of. And this is to say how much Bresson has been an example and a model for me as a filmmaker.